I wanna celebrate this life forever.
Come on.
I'm living it, not dreaming it. We getting it, black luxury. I wanna celebrate this life forever.
Yeah.
I'm living it, not dreaming it. We getting it, black luxury.
A paradigm shift is occurring across the country. Justice is expediting the process of what we're becoming. Universally unified in alignment with our greatness, which lay dormant for ages, but now it has been awakened. In this dispensation, we've been repositioned for a movement, excluding the lie of being viewed as 3/5 of a human. My lineage says different. God.
Hey. It's Wednesday. What's going on, Sedan?
It's Wednesday.
Oh, wait, I forgot. We're dressed professionally today, so we're going to make sure that everyone out in Revolution Ready Land understands that it is Professional Day. We come in here at Black Excellence.
You know.
Blacktastic. How you feeling?
I'm feeling blacknificent right now. I'm feeling amazing.
You look blacktastic.
Thank you. I try hard, you know.
That's what's up.
I gotta keep up with you.
No, I gotta keep up with you, brother.
It ain't easy to keep up with you, too.
Nah. I'm just a nobody, just trying to tell everybody that black people, we have power. We have excellence. We are beautiful. So y'all make sure y'all like this. Welcome to Wednesday, Revolution Ready. We have a power show. We have a powerful guest that's going to be joining us today. I'm so excited. I'm hippopotamus happy because it's a lot of good things to be talking about
happy.
today. Huh?
That's big happy.
That's big happy.
That's big happy.
Emphasis on the big.
Yeah, we do. We do have a, I don't even know how to describe her. Man, I think you summed it up, really. But she is amazing. It's just hard to put a stamp on her work.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You got to put so much respect on her name.
Put some respect on her name.
You just can't, oh my God. And I can't wait to answer these questions because she was like coming at, you know what? Her name is Kim Motley.
Hey.
You know. And does she go by attorney Kim Motley or
she go by attorney Kim Motley. She earned that name.
Or is it district attorney Kim?
I mean, I think if we want to put that into the area in existence, we can do that too. Because I think she could claim anything.
The way she just handled this case for Jay Anderson. For people just now tuning in, our topic for the day, one of them is going to be the Jay Anderson case, the John Doe case.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, we're gonna go into as much detail about the case as we can. Seeing as that it was already aired, I'm pretty sure y'all seen it. What was that? WISN is the only news station that covered it.
Right.
You know, and
yes.
then you get it here.
And you get it here. You get all of the updates, the things that you didn't get to see or hear. You'll be able to hear all of that today when we have our special guest Kim Motley come in and talk to us just about the work that she's been doing, not just to get this John Doe hearing, not just to get Weber to testify, even though he was testifying, but to get him on a stand and really call him out. But also to hear the span of her work. That's what she's been doing since she heard about what's been going on with the families that were impacted by former Officer Mensah. So shout out to Kim. Most definitely shout out to the families of Jay Anderson Jr., Alvin Cole, and Antonio Gonzalez. We forever always keeping y'all lifted up in prayer and support and encouragement. But I think it's some things that we definitely want to just dive into before we even have the conversation with Kim, because Kim is in transit right now. She is still in court doing her thing and making sure that she is upholding justice for people who need that justice right now in the municipal court. So while we wait for her arrival, hey y'all, how y'all doing? Make sure y'all like this, share this. Glad y'all tuned in on a Wednesday afternoon or evening to the Revolution Ready. Here with my brother Sedan. We about to do our thing. We looking good. Want y'all to see.
Smelling good too.
So Sedan, what's been going on? What's some hot topics? What's some stuff that's going on as far as in the justice? What have we been seeing as of lately?
Well, as of lately, we still waiting up on the rest of those officers to be charged for George Floyd, of course. And the Joel Acevedo case is something that I feel like I want to see it move forward as quickly as possible. Of course, they just celebrated the 1 year anniversary of Joel's last day here. So, but you know, we got the FPC meeting. That what day is the FPC meeting?
So tomorrow.
Yeah.
But before we even jump to that, about the Acevedo family, big ups, encouragement to the Acevedo family in their fight for justice for their son Joel. They received some excellent news today in being able to get a judge to agree in their favor to release the footage from what happened that unfortunate night. So that's good to be able to hear that news, that the judge decided in their favor, and that the department will have to release that footage at immediately. We don't have a date, but immediately. And he set a new court date for June 4th, I believe. So just make sure y'all continue to lift up the Acevedo family and stay tuned in to what's going on with them.
Most definitely keep them in your prayers.
That's
of
right.
course, preparing for something like that is it's unbearable. It really is. To watch the last moment of somebody you love, you know, take their last breath. It's unbearable.
It is definitely unbearable.
You know, keep them in your prayers. Of course, you know, reach out, give them as much support as y'all can.
And then you mentioned about George Floyd, about the other officers that were involved. Tell us what's going on with that.
So their case is coming up. Did they say August?
I believe so. Yep, in
August. So, I mean, I just feel like, and then we have some other people. What is it? It's a lot of controversy about the statement made that one of the jurors was actually wearing a "Get Your Knee Off My Neck" shirt.
Yeah.
So it's just, you know, it's like we get a win and then they try to take it away.
Exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, we know, regardless of whether the juror was wearing that or not, the evidence still showed that, you know, Derek Chauvin and the other officers were the reason as to why George Floyd is not here today with his family and being able to just live and celebrate being black and being an individual and being a human being. So it doesn't matter what was worn. They're gonna try to nitpick everything.
I think it's more based on culture, the way that it was worn.
I agree.
You know, it's like wearing a dashiki. So just because you are a proud African, does that mean you're not able to stand up in a jury trial, or be a juror?
Most definitely. Like, that doesn't. It's
on a case where, you know, they want to add the racial balance.
Yeah.
So, you know, you as a black person, just because you're, you know,
and he was judged by 12 of his peers, and all of them unanimously said that he was guilty for what happened. So no appeal is needed. Public opinion has already rendered him guilty, and a jury has already rendered him guilty. And it's time for him just to go ahead and serve that consequence and be held accountable. Am I right, brother?
Well, yeah, because we know what's going to happen to him. Yeah. I don't wish death on anyone.
No,
but,
not at all.
You know, let's be honest. Let's be realistic about it. They're going to have to, you know, protect him in there, of course, because everybody that, you know, I feel like everybody that's in there, you know, for extreme crimes, you know, not just hatred, but extreme crimes, I feel like, you know, they're not going to be able to hold back that anger. Exactly. And I'm pretty sure he probably is already in some form of protection right now as we speak. But also, so Sudan mentioned about tomorrow is a big meeting involving with the Milwaukee Fire and Police Commission. And so after several meetings, they have continued to push an important item on the agenda to the next meeting. And so in April, they were going to make a decision on banning of chokeholds, as that being a standard policy for the Milwaukee Police Department. And so they've delayed that until tomorrow. So tomorrow is supposed to be the expected day where a decision is going to be rendered. And so I would encourage you, if you haven't already, to stay tuned to what's going on. Tomorrow, I should make the announcement that the People's Revolution, TPR, shout out to TPR, is hosting a press conference at noon in front of City Hall to make it be known that we stand in solidarity as a community and wanting the FPC and demanding for the FPC to go ahead and make that ban
stand up and make sure that's taking place. So that's going to take place at 5:30 tomorrow. We need people who are going to virtually comment and submit to the record, and making sure that themselves as a citizen is put on record and telling the FPC to ban chokeholds. And if they can't do that, also to submit through the email on Legistar, so fpc.gov. I can get the correct website, but for you to go ahead and submit your public comment, so that way you're on record in support and making sure that they hear. That's the only way these laws are going to be changed, if we put pressure and demand for them to be. So make sure y'all stay tuned tomorrow for that press conference. And
be accountable.
Say that, brother.
We want accountability when it comes to the officers' wrongdoing and the way that they serve injustice in the system. So the only way for us to be able to, I don't even like to say add stipulations, because I hate that. I feel like that's why we get the word reform. Mm-hmm. Because, it comes with a rewording of it, and it adds certain stipulations to getting us closer to where we want to be. But
do you think people, when they hear the word reform, do you think people say that's like a watered down version, like we've already had reform? Like, do you think that works or it's necessary?
It's like to me, it's like you can come in, mm-hmm. but you can't go down the aisle.
Okay, yeah, I feel that.
Certain aisles.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then when you do get the permission to go down the aisle, mm-hmm. there's one department you still can't shop in.
Okay. I feel that because even when we, you definitely leading the charge and always bringing up about ending qualified immunity.
Of course.
And that's part of reform. And so I don't want people to get that when we say those things that like we're trying to water down the mm-hmm. actions of the police or watering down accountability, but we do have to have laws and policies in place. Correct.
And that's it. That's most definitely correct. Mm-hmm. And that's why we have to show up to these meetings.
That's right.
We have to go in there and implement the change that we want to see. Mm-hmm. And we have to do it by adding these stipulations mm-hmm. To the agenda. We have to make sure that they abide by what we say. We have to make sure that we stand behind our demands and show up. Right now it's time for the the revolution to transpire into where we lobby now. Mm-hmm. It's on. It's right. on. Our legislations are they're being heard. Mm-hmm. And we're no longer demanding change. If we can get it up there on the board, now it's something to talk about. They can't hide from these conversations.
That's right.
So show
I like
up,
how you said that.
And make them understand that. Okay, yeah, y'all said y'all heard us. Now it's time to listen.
That's right. I think Becca says, and shout out to Becca for this catchphrase, change them laws or them laws gonna change me. So I love that.
Big dot.
That's
another one I heard
Big
first.
dot, period.
Big dot.
Because I love that. And it's not just something that's trending. That's a fact. That if these laws don't change, it changes the course of action that we take. It changes our demeanor. It changes how we show up, because they don't want for us to show up. They want us to hide behind certain things and just think that we're just going to be a bunch of screaming people. No, mm-hmm. we're going to come with facts. Mm-hmm. We're going to come with demands, because we have the power. The people demand for these things to be changed. So mm-hmm. shout out to Becca for that phrase of saying that, because that's true. We have some questions coming in.
Before we dive into that, let me just add to what you're saying.
Please.
I also feel like, for us to, be able to foot the movement, we have to add more than just footsteps to it.
That's right.
I don't want to encourage any, violent behavior or anything like that. Mm-hmm. But at some point, you get tired of being pushed.
That's right.
You know what I mean? This is a challenging point in our life. Mm-hmm. I feel like as a African American, the challenging point in your life is that you have to live with that. Mm-hmm. Once you're labeled that, that's what you live with.
Yeah,
you will always be treated as such.
That's right.
So through history, we've always been treated, with the underhand. We've always had the undermining nature of what our abilities could be. Mm-hmm. And it's always been lack of what we could become. That's right. That they wanted to, not believe in. Mm-hmm. But now it's time to make them understand that, We're not waiting on them to believe in what we can become.
Not at all.
If this is the game that's set up for us to play, then let's play.
That's right.
You know, but understand this. This is the difference in it when we play. It's not a game.
That's right. We come to win. We don't come to lose.
That's right. And we're going to make the change that we want to see, and we're going to be a part of it.
And I think you brought up a good point. You know, we've been conditioned to believe that we the underdogs.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that, you know, the underdog, I always will bet on an underdog any day. But we've been conditioned to believe that. But let's normalize not conditioning ourselves to believe that. Mm-hmm. Let's normalize being able to believe that we can win a fight once we get in the fight, because we have the power on our side. We have the momentum on our side. And so I wholeheartedly believe in us as a people that we can accomplish anything, that we can take back. And you're talking about certain things as far as history. You know, I always tell people about the fact that they're mad about how this country has developed or what this country has done. Well, we haven't been the people that's been doing that. We've just been the people who've been impacted by those decisions. We've always tried to make sure that our people had, and our people have always had, but we've always been at a point where y'all have taken from us. So now we're in a position that we want to take it back. You wanted to take away education from us. You didn't want us to read or write, to gain knowledge and gain understanding and to gain wealth and to prosper. Because you can see what happens when we prosper, because look at us. We look good.
Black-nificent.
Black excellence.
You know? Unapologetically black.
Unapologetically black.
You know? Let them know.
It's not just a catchphrase. It's not just a catchphrase. That's a reality for us. That's a reality for us as black people. There's some other things that's coming up too, y'all. I want y'all to be aware of that. So another was, as me and Brother Sedan are talking about engaging and making sure that we're at these meetings and we're at the table and we know what's going on. You know, the task force, shout out to Becca, who's been on this speakers task force, has been really diligently looking through policy and talking about how we can really change what's in black and white. Because our oppressors and those who are creating these laws to hold us down, that's what they're going off of. And so we have to go through and dive deep between these policies and really cut it up and say, no, this is the way that it has to be. So shout out to the task force for being able to come up with 18 recommendations that are going to be reviewed by the assembly. But then further,
banning the
chokeholds. You know, they're going to be talking about a portion of qualified immunity, also talking about no-knock warrants, all of these things. And all of these things are demands that we've been talking about for years. And now we're able to kind of tune in and really see how they can have some impact. But the state budget is coming up.
Most definitely.
And so
we always talk about that money.
We always talk about that money. And we always
That's our money, y'all.
Our money.
Make sure y'all know that. That's our money, y'all.
Our money. Taxpayer money. Taxpayer dollars. And then how we don't want any of that money to be used to go towards more policing. We want to make sure that police don't be able to tap into that money that's coming, that's soon to come, or delegate it to them. So just make sure y'all stay tuned to what's going on in the state.
60% budget, 40%, 50%, whatever budget it is way more than what we get for the things we need to survive. So
you talking facts now, bro.
We got to make sure we stand on their necks, you know, and look at everybody that's feeling like it's unfair.
That's right.
That they're in that situation.
That's right.
It's our turn.
Y'all make sure y'all sharing this live. Y'all give us some likes. Show us some love. If y'all feeling and liking what we saying today, if y'all believe in what we saying today, touch and agree with us.
And we finna get real up in here. How many people we got viewing us right now? 25. All 25 people that's on here, y'all can do the same thing at home. Y'all can go on there on the website right now, and y'all can email y'all local official, find out who it is, and just, you know, write a letter to them saying that every demand that you've heard on Revolution Ready, you know, just stand behind it.
That's right.
It's facts. Y'all can do it right now. That'll be 25 demands.
I love that.
You know what I mean? If everybody got a different one.
If y'all hearing what my brother's saying, 25 people, then y'all share it to the next 25 people. And that 25 people share it to the next 25 people. Get this out there. Make sure that people are aware about what's going on in their community. We just trying to provide information and make sure people are just tuned in to what's going on around them. So that way, when the time comes, you can't say that you didn't know.
And the budget is huge.
That's right.
You know, I don't know the exact number, but they always find some type of way to hide some money that we don't never see, and then we hear about it in the tabloids. We hear about it in the news. Nah, man. The budget is huge. I don't know the exact number because they do vary. You know, they change. But I do know the percentages of where the money's going. And we do need to, you know, change that number.
That's right. That's right.
We're most definitely affected by that number. We need infrastructure. We need housing. We need education. We need, you know, we need a policing system set up for mental health patients. We need,
Facts.
you know, we need a lot of things.
Yes.
And, you know, that budget, most of that money that goes to the police could go to any one of them. But they'll keep giving us any one of those in the next 3, 4, 5 years to come. And then it's like, all right, now we've acquired something, but we can control the budget. And we can acquire that now. We don't have to wait 5 years.
Not at all. So it's also brought to my attention just some other things that's happening, not just here in Wisconsin, but what is taking place as it relates to police brutality and individuals being impacted by police shootings. So you guys remember last summer in Atlanta, there was a young man by the name of Rashard Brooks who was killed by police in the parking lot of Wendy's. And the officers involved, this is just released today by the USA Today, so you can always go back and fact check whatever we're talking about because we can share where we're getting the sources information from. The review board has reversed a firing of the police officer who was involved in the fatal shooting of Rashard Brooks. So I definitely know that the people down in Georgia, not only do they know what to do as it relates to voting, I'm sure they're going to work on this issue too and send up the demand and make sure that decision gets reversed back, that officer should not be on duty. It seems like all these officers keep getting their jobs back. They keep going back to work. What's up with that?
It makes me so mad. It makes me so mad. Because then you got that one case where you see the officer actually being tried, and it's like, oh, if he run into me or if he did that to me, I ain't, you know, and people shouldn't have to they shouldn't have to deal with that when they're encountering an officer. Exactly. You know what I mean? What if he killed me? That's an actual thought, and it's fact that if you feel that way, you know, you have reason to feel that way. So we don't, we don't need those officers back on duty.
Not at all.
I
mean, the officer and with Jacob Blake, like he's back on duty. There was an investigation about his weapon that's been stolen. I mean, it's just all kind of eerie things that's going on here. Y'all make sure y'all continue to lift up the name of Jacob Blake Jr. and his family as they continue. Jacob Blake Jr. just celebrated a birthday last Friday. That was the same day as the anniversary of the death of Dr. Hamilton. So much love to the Hamilton family, Mama Maria Hamilton, and Nate, and the entire family who's continued to fight for justice and continue to stay in the fight for everyone else, despite what has happened to their own families. Is there what else is going on?
Talivia Cole just had a graduation party.
She did. Shout out to Talivia. I love her. She's just awesome during this whole time, bro. She just been out here working, double working.
Most definitely. She invited me too, so we had a nice time.
That's nice. I'm glad y'all was able to turn up a little bit.
Yeah, it was dope. I got to show my wife something. Come on, baby, let's go.
Shout out to Mrs. Smith, Sarah Smith. What's going on? But y'all make sure y'all share this, like this. We're just waiting to transition for the wonderful powerhouse Kim to get done, you know, eating everybody up in court like she has been. I mean, this woman, I admire her tenacity, if that's the appropriate word to say. Her tenacity and the way she's just been able to carry this fight for justice for so long, and not give up and she's been keeping the knee of justice on their necks. Is that right?
That's right. That's right.
Ain't no else to put it.
Ain't no other way to say it. And Kim, when you do get here, it's gonna be a lot of questions coming in. Y'all make sure y'all flood the comments, get the questions ready for her, so we don't have to cut her off because it's gonna be a lot of deep stuff that we don't know. It's gonna be a lot of stuff that y'all at home watching could have asked. You know what I mean? So let's just get them out there so we can have them lined up. We go straight through them.
Is there any things happening? Any announcements that we need to be making? What's going on in the community?
TDR is having a. Oh, okay. Okay. I'm sorry, y'all. That was special invite only.
VIP.
I was finna give out the exclusive, but y'all don't get that. Y'all get the exclusive on justice, and we're gonna keep it like that.
Well, this Sunday, the People's Revolution is in honor. Is hosting what's called the Black Mothers Matter March on Saturday, 1:00. We're meeting at Cathedral Square. We've invited mothers who have been impacted by police brutality or gun violence to come and join in the march with us, so we can honor them and show this city, this community, that mothers matter, and that we're not just out here fighting against police violence. We're also fighting against gun violence, and we don't want to see anyone, any mother, have to bury their child. So 1:00 this Saturday, Cathedral Square. Meet us out there. We're going to have some moms come and talk to us. Just in black women, just loving on other black women, and women just loving on black women.
And encourage y'all black women to get out there and go to these things. They're very therapeutic. The march is something where they can, it might be something that they haven't talked about in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's in our communities, y'all. Let's just make sure we help it out as much as possible.
And do you think that's a topic that we need to make sure that we are giving the same due diligence on around? Because the people think that it's just centered around so much about police brutality that we're not talking about the things that are actually happening in our community too.
The police brutality is one thing. Systematic racism is something that's way bigger than any violence that we can create.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, the killing doesn't stop unless you stop people from having a reason to kill.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these things, they not, not to say that everybody, that there is a reason to kill, but everybody's not living the same struggle in their eyes, but we all are.
Yeah.
And it's just how they take it.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to stop the struggle. We have to attack the system.
Mm-hmm.
We have to get rid of a lot of the reason why people take a chance on even being violent.
Exactly.
You have so much to lose. You don't just swing first.
Yeah.
Even if you got bail money, you don't just go to jail.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If you have businesses behind your name or
That's
something,
right.
if they have ways that they can create an established lifestyle in a legal manner,
Yeah.
then, we wouldn't have so much violence.
Yeah.
And I think it starts there. It starts where we have to be able to control things, though.
That's right.
The system was not built by us,
Mm-hmm.
and it was not built for us.
That's right. The system is violent. It's created a sense of poverty, and poverty is violence. I think our brother, who we had on a guest 2 weeks ago, talked to us, Jamal Smith. He talked to us just about that very thing. Racism, poverty, and people just being embedded in that and not being able to get out of this barriers and this walls that are just being created up by this system that does allow people to get out and to be able to thrive. So, of course, what happens? People resist. People push back. People fight back. They find other avenues and ways and tactics to be able to do that. While it's unfortunate, I'm not going to blame our people for the conditions that we have been exposed to. A lot of us have been able to get out, but a lot of people haven't been afforded that opportunity. So I definitely think that it's still a conversation, it's still work that needs to be done. And I say to people who, sometimes criticize, well, how about you get into the fight, get into the cause and help? So that way our young people, old people, middle-aged people, whatever, will be able to see a better direction.
Oh, yeah. Speaking on the young people.
Uh-oh.
I did forget this, but I'm going to shout it out. So we got
Shout it
baseball refund MKE event May 21st and the 22nd.
Mm-hmm.
Similar to the basketball event that we had at McGov, but now we're going to do baseball. People from the Negro League are coming to teach our youth how to play baseball.
Mm-hmm.
More scholarships are available for youth in baseball than basketball.
Okay. That is true.
And there's going to be more details to come. We have baseball gloves. We got the bats. We got the ball. Look out for the flyer. early next week, and follow Refund the Community, MKE on Facebook. Follow Saquana Taylor, and follow my beautiful wife Sarah Smith for
That's what's
more
up.
info.
So I think you guys just started this initiative about a week. Was it last Saturday or the Saturday before that?
I believe it was last Saturday before.
Okay. And so tell us what all that entails.
So basically, it was just something my wife actually is very passionate about. She was talking to me about it. Baby, you do a lot of community work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm always there to help you, but I'm passionate about this because she used to play basketball. She actually won state for her high school.
Oh,
Shout
wow.
out Eisenhower.
That's what's up.
So I was just like, baby, whatever I can do to help you, let's do it. And she was like, yeah, but I want to do it in your community.
Mm-hmm.
I want to help those kids. And then, you know, her seeing my reaction to baseball, I'm pretty sure it was something different. It was definitely new to me. I did not sit there and watch baseball. Now I got the game on my phone and everything. I talked to her dad about it. Like, it's just different. We didn't have that growing up.
Yeah.
You know, we grabbed a basketball.
Yeah.
You know, but we'd throw a rock through any window 5 blocks down.
Mm-hmm.
But we ain't never picked up the baseball.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, we gotta teach our youth. You know what I mean? And it's another way to have an out. You know what I mean?
That's
a lot
right.
of kids not gonna be good at baseball, so we gonna switch it up. So she started with basketball. Now we gonna do baseball. I don't know what else is coming, y'all. We might be playing cricket or something. I don't know. But, you know, we got that coming up for right now. And, of course, we had the NBA player, G League. He going to be in the Big Three. Mike Taylor. Shout out Mike Taylor.
That's what's
Taylor-made.
up. Shout out.
And he was out there, you know, showing the kids. Him, my wife, Jakari, county supervisors, Saquana Taylor, many more names. They was out there, you know, showing the kids how to dribble. And, you know, it was just a free, fun event for our youth. You know, it was a action pack, of course, to see Mike dunking the ball for the kids. You know, and
It was exciting for them, huh?
and he's gonna be in the Big Three. So,
Yeah.
you know, when they was like dunk, you know, I think them was his biggest fans.
Yeah.
You know, I told him to dunk. He did like a little one hand.
Mm-hmm.
Kids like dunk. He want to throw the ball all behind his back, off the back. I'm like, but you know, okay, we ain't gonna get into that, Mike. Shout out, Mike. You know. He got a comic book coming out too, y'all. I ain't gonna get too much detail on it. I'm gonna ask his permission first, but you know, it's something that's different too. You know, for us to be able to present us as black people, our culture is not to create, you know, comic books as big as Marvel or to have a dream like that. And I think we should.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And we should teach our kids to dream big.
We should. And yeah,
I love it.
Shout out Mike Taylor and the whole Refund MKE community.
I see Sarah put in the comments that we're looking to help the youth not only around sports with COVID, we're helping kids connect with entrepreneurs and teach them how to run businesses. We're helping them develop life skills. So shout out to that. I love that. I think people, when they think about sports, they think about just playing, just dribbling a basketball, but there's fundamentals around it, and it's really a bigger picture. I know a lot of people don't like LeBron as a player, but they like LeBron as the man as far as what he's been doing with, you know, his foundation and just giving back to the community that raised him. But he talks about how basketball, it was an out for him to be able to make a better way for him and his family, but it also helped him develop life skills, things that he never would have known. So I just appreciate, you know, that y'all taking that leap of faith and doing something positive for our youth and getting them involved. So shout out to y'all.
Most definitely. Thank you so much.
I love it. Y'all shout out if y'all love it too. Hit that love if y'all like it too.
It's a blessing. It's a blessing to be able to create that type of energy between me and my wife, and just to have that passion for the community. So yeah, I most definitely love the work that I do. I'm pretty sure her watching, you know, makes it come out of her. So, but we gonna us as a whole, like I said, everybody. That's why we all have to be in tune with how we can help. We all have to be able to, you know, follow sometimes until we know how to lead. You know, and then let's see our community thrive from the great work that we put into, you know, getting it done. And I don't know what else we can talk about behind the upcoming events, but it's a lot of other stuff we can talk about. How about those kids? I can't think of exactly where they was at, but these white kids, group of white kids, were talking about how it was funny that the way that George Floyd died, and they were reenacting it.
They're funny.
Yeah, they thought it was funny.
What? What is it? What was funny about it?
It's just like it just brings me. That brought up because the way the community is, we have to work together as a community. That's got to be what they're seeing in their community. That's got to be what the kids are seeing. Somebody is teaching them that that's okay,
and not calling them out on it, right?
They can't be calling these kids out on it for them to be getting news publicity off of it. Mm-hmm. I can't remember exactly what state it is, but.
So then I got so caught up in what you were saying, but then on the other hand, our bro just walked up in the room, and both of y'all got looking good, smelling good, got the ties, got the shirts on, they fresh, y'all. I just wanted to say that. Just wanted to say, look, shout out to black men.
Shout out my grandma. She taught me how to do it.
I do want to make an announcement that most definitely needs to be bigged up. So Milwaukee Freedom Fund is hosting what's called Milwaukee Black Mamas Bailout this entire month of May. So the Freedom Fund is doing a series of bailouts this May in honor of Mother's Day. So stay tuned for how you can support, donate, and get involved. So the whole point of it was inspired by leadership of the National Bailout, which joins a lot of other organizations across the country to bail black mothers and caregivers out of jail in honor of Mother's Day. So their pain restores the innocence and reunites families and challenges a system that criminalizes race and poverty. So when we say black mamas and caregivers, we mean black women, including transgender, cisgender, queer, and non-binary caretakers in our communities. So we can drop the link so you guys can have more information about that and to be able to support the cause. That's awesome. I always say that black women are the backbone. Mothers are the backbone of our families. Without black women, we would not be able to do anything. And so we'll drop that link so that way you'll be able to financially support or find out other ways that you can support the cause. We got some more announcements coming through. It's announcement day. Go ahead, bro.
Yes, we do. We have the non-pop and mid-coast Doom tribute. It's this Friday at 7. So y'all make sure y'all looking out for that. And
what's up, bro? Pierre?
What's
How
up,
you doing?
Pierre?
I'm doing all right. How y'all doing?
I'm good.
My
I'm
bad.
good.
I was late. I'm sorry. I'm usually a timely person, but unforeseen circumstances had me held.
Now you good. We just sitting up here chopping it up because we excited for the powerhouse and Kim.
Oh yeah. I can't wait.
What you feeling?
I'm excited. I mean, I was watching the little court case. The meeting, and she tore him up.
Yeah, she did.
I think Kim giving a new definition of black women lawyers. You know what I mean? Because I don't even know a black woman lawyer besides Kim. Honestly.
Yeah.
So. Shout out to Kim again.
Shout out to Kim. I'm gonna say this when she get here, but I'll say it just to let everybody know. If you need somebody to intimidate or make the police know that they coming for them, get you a Kim Motley.
Yeah.
Get you a Kim Motley because she definitely has been shaking it up and shaking up the system.
Yeah, she handling my cases right now. So I'm gonna ask her on air when she get here what's going on with it, y'all. She's so busy. I just know I'm gonna stay free. That's all I know.
Yeah.
If it's something I need to worry about, I know she'll call me. But she been going to the court cases without me. She give me updates, of course, on the dates. I probably, as long as she say she got it, I just, I know she got it. So.
And she do it with elegance. You know what I mean? She don't get too rowdy. You know what I mean? I like that.
She hurt their feelings.
Yeah.
She did. I gotta save you. I gotta save Pierre. You ain't getting it out of me. I gotta wait till she get here. She hurt their feelings, man. She did the angle of it all. The way to just provide that it was an assured, uncertainty about things. Yeah. She just knew it. And y'all know it.
Yeah.
And y'all gonna say it. You know what I mean? And you gonna say what you don't know. And everybody else need to hear what you did say.
Exactly.
She was just, like how your grandma get up on you, they was in there doing this, and I knew it was gonna lead to that. It's always an angle for it.
So y'all make sure y'all drop questions in the chat so that way we can be ready for when Kimberly Motley comes. I mean, we already got questions for her. Want her to talk about a whole host of things. We want to make sure that you guys are being plugged in or able to connect with her on things that you guys want to know. Because she's a powerhouse, like I said.
And don't forget to change them laws at home. Matter of fact, this is what y'all can do. Comment what it is that you think the Milwaukee County budget should go towards right now. Let us see it. You know what I mean? And I'll probably even do it. Matter of fact, yeah, I will do it. I'll search up, put your zip code if you can, and I'll search your alderman. How about that? Inbox me or something. How about that? Because I want to make sure that the laws is getting changed, and I want to make sure that we control the budget, and I want to make sure I'm doing all that I can to secure our community, you know, to thrive and to reduce as much violence.
Clap for yourself for that, brother.
Reduce as much violence as possible, y'all.
A clap for yourself.
Let me see where it's at. That's for all of us. We all do the hard work. That's for all of us. We all putting that work in. And y'all putting that work in too. Matter of fact, let me get a clap for y'all.
Give a clap for the people.
Now let me see it in the comments. What y'all think that should be those funds should be allocated to in the budget. So Pierre, what's one of the things you think the funds should be allocated to in the budget coming up?
Education.
Education is much needed. It's
Education.
huge. It's huge.
Education. I'm gonna have to say it again. Education.
It's huge.
Yeah.
That's how Kim
Mine
doing
is a
what
terrible
she
thing to
doing.
waste.
That's how Kim doing what she doing.
Yeah. I feel like it's not taken as serious as it should be in our communities. We normalize Xbox, 2K, Call of Duty.
Yeah.
We show that so much more attention than anything. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, education, man. Education.
That's what's up.
That is what's up, man. I read to my kids, you know. It's just huge. I mean, sometimes you do got to set the game to the side and, you know, show the arts and crafts side. My wife bring out all the toys for them to do the arts and crafts, and we go through math with them, and she real good with them. So, you know, sitting back watching that, I get inspired, and I get in there and I create my own shortcuts to watching her teach. Because, you know, sometimes I just don't have the patience for it.
That's right.
And I think that's because of what we have normalized when it comes to what they do. It's like you can spell Fortnite, but you can't sound it out. You know what I mean? You can't, you know what I mean? It's just like, it's like that. You know what I mean? And it's things like that to where it's like, you know, they can see SpongeBob SquarePants, but they can't spell SpongeBob SquarePants.
Right.
So, yeah, man,
I think I would
education is
say housing. I want to see the budget dollars be allocated to housing, because I think when people are, you know, not being able to access basic necessities, housing is at the top. If you don't have a place to live, then everything else starts to just unravel from there. You know, we shouldn't be in a country right now where they're homeless and people are trying to, you know, figure out, you know, where they're going to lay their head out at night. I see it all the time, and it just breaks my heart. If I was able to come up with the dollars to be able to just be able to have one large facility or something, development for something that will allow people to be able just to be lay their head out at night, I would do that. But so that's where I want to see dollars go to.
That's definitely. I ain't even gonna tell y'all what I want to see it go to. Y'all already know I agree with all those things. But we have our very special guest in the building.
Hey,
Make some noise. Make some noise.
Drop a clap for her.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
The moment y'all been waiting for. The justice warrior herself.
Attorney. We want to see District Attorney Kim Motley.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm so sorry I was late. I was at stupid Wauwatosa dealing with court.
So you hear that, y'all?
These nonsense tickets that they've been giving people.
Drop a like and love. Make sure y'all share this. We got Kim in the building, y'all. So we're going to dive right in. What y'all got?
I'm glad you came in on that note, because I was just saying I wanted to ask you about my ticket. Like,
Right.
I'm good right now. I'm still free.
So what's going on with your ticket? I mean, pretty much for every ticket, we're trying to get all the discovery from the Wauwatosa city attorney. So that includes like all the videos, drone squad, body cameras, which they've been very slow motion doing that. They have been altering tickets or well, let me just say this. They've been adding information to tickets that are different than the tickets that they originally gave people, which is frankly unethical, unlawful.
Yeah.
And so I've been trying to get those altered tickets. And so basically the philosophy is we're fighting every ticket. I mean, we've gotten over a dozen tickets dismissed. For those that aren't going to get dismissed, we're just going to go to motion and trial. That's it.
Wow.
Okay. We gonna
No
kill him in
days
court.
off. No days
We gonna
off.
kill him in court. I was dead silent on that. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, she got this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt like one of them people you was up there handing it to in the courtroom. Like, so, how did this happen? And then you said, okay, yeah, but before we even give out those details, I do got a lot of questions to ask. We got a lot of questions to ask.
Yeah, we do.
We do. I'm going to be a gentleman. Miss Tiff, you want to go ahead and jump in? 'Cause I know-
So thanks, Rebel. I mean, I watched you, Kim. I've been watching this hearing. I don't know how too much you can talk about it. So you can definitely cut off and let us know how much you cannot share. But just, visually watching you in action is just amazing to be able to see you work this system and do it in the way that you've been doing it. So just shout out to you for that.
Thank you.
For working so diligently on behalf of the families.
Big ups.
And not just the families, but even, unfortunately, us as protesters who have got caught up in some things, but all in the name of trying to, raise awareness and to make sure that we're, elevating and letting people know that this has been an issue for the impacted families. But talk to us, before you get into any of the juicy details of things, talk to us about how you even got started. Because there may be some viewers or listeners who don't know your background, don't know how you got into, wanting to be an attorney. Just give us some tidbits on that.
Right. Well, before I get into that, I do want to make a note, and I want everyone to really note this date, May 19th.
May 19th.
At 9:45 is the closing argument for the John Doe hearing. It's going to be no more than an hour. I think it's really important for people to pay attention to it. But it's sort of we're bringing everything together within the 3 different hearings in relation to the Jay Anderson Jr. shooting. And so that's going to be no more than an hour in downtown in Judge Yamahiro's court, May 19th at 9:45 a.m.
Got you. Thanks for
May
sharing
19th.
it. Just dropped it in the chat.
Thank you. I mean, in terms of how I got started as a lawyer, when I went to college, I wanted to be a DJ, to be honest. And, because I think I love music and, I have done some DJing. Like, I'm not like, but, and so I've always been interested in sort of, I like different music. I like mixing different things together. And to me, that's sort of legal in a lot of ways. At least becoming a litigator is, that makes sense, where we sort of use the laws and the culture and, our legal arguments, and we sort of mix it in together with these different playlists that I play in the courts.
Yep.
And so I feel like I am sort of a DJ of sorts, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
DJ of Justice.
Yes. But it's just something that felt right. There's not like a story happened and then I wanted justice. It just
Right.
felt right.
Yeah.
Like this feels right to do right now.
That's what's up. I mean, we got so many questions, we don't even know how to start.
I really do. I mean,
You want to? I think we should start off with one of the questions that one of our viewers have. Tiffany, she says, first off, I want to thank you. You're a true blessing to our city. I have 3 questions. Is it possible that the Attorney General can be contacted to investigate Tulsa PD from the top down? Because after yesterday, it's clear they are not following policy. No documentation. If documentation, no dates, signatures, and copy and pasting. No performance, reports of their officers, and proper psychological reports by board-certified clinicians. If Mensa is charged... Oh, that's the first question.
I mean, I absolutely do strongly believe that there is a federal civil rights probe that has to happen of the Wauwatosa Police Department. It's never happened, but I think over these past several months, we have uncovered, fabricated arrest records. We've uncovered really troubling sort of in my opinion, racial profiling stats where, Wauwatosa is a city that's 13 square miles long, and with less than a 5% black population, but consistently over 60% of the traffic stops are of black and brown people. We know, for instance, in 2017 that 83% of the arrests were of black and brown people in Wauwatosa. So for me personally, I encourage everyone to please contact your elected officials. I have spoken to Senator Tammy Baldwin's office. I've spoken to Gwen Moore's office. I've spoken to other locally elected and statewide elected officials. And frankly, it seems as though everyone agrees, but we need to get it done.
Yeah.
You know, it has to happen because especially now that they're trying to get a new police chief, I think this is a key time to do it so that they know and can make a real informed decision of what their problems are and figure out the right person that can come in to fix those problems. Because Wauwatosa has significant problems within their police department, and it really, in my opinion, is from the top down. And I think we saw that with, frankly, how, in my opinion, Chief Weber behaves. I think, frankly, what happened in court with his testimony was extremely troubling.
Yeah.
A lot of the things that he was saying.
Definitely, yeah. The second part of that?
If Mensah is charged, which I believe will happen, who will prosecute the case and be trusted to do a good job? Because it definitely ain't Chisholm, as he has never done shit and would not do a good job. Can you?
Oh, you can curse on this show. That's good to know.
I think you get like 2 cuss words a show.
2 or 3.
Is that per person or is that like as a unit?
Yep, and
a unit.
no F-bombs unless you were racially.
We got a bleep, but we got the green light.
Okay.
Okay. No problem.
Well, as an individual, Tom, or as a unit?
Yeah.
We as a unit.
And no F-bombs.
Okay, no F-bombs.
Unless somebody said a racial slur to you.
Gotcha.
Okay. So, I mean, in terms of, well, the Milwaukee County District Attorney's Office, they're conflicted out because they already had the opportunity they looked at the case and they decided not to charge. Like that's already happened. And that happened in 2016. So it's up to the judge, if he determines there is probable cause, to appoint a special prosecutor to, be the one that's in charge of this case. So it really is up to the judge to decide who is going to be the person that's going to take the case on, if he finds that there is probable cause.
And would he appoint like an outside of Milwaukee County, maybe even somebody outside of Wisconsin?
Well, my opinion is this, and I'm a big, there is no box type of person. I just think he needs to appoint somebody with a law degree.
Yeah, okay.
I don't, if that's a licensed attorney in the state of Wisconsin, I don't think it has to be a traditional prosecutor as we're normally used to seeing. I mean, frankly, we saw, and I think this is a really good example, that in the George Floyd case, they had a lot of the attorneys that were involved in the prosecution were private attorneys. And I believe that's what should happen here. That it should be obviously someone that definitely is licensed in the state of Wisconsin, but I do believe that there are benefits to not having a traditional prosecutor to be the one that runs the case. But ultimately, it's up to the judge.
Yeah.
They ain't got another Kim Motley out there. You know what I'm saying? So that's going to be hard to
Kim,
do.
I said before you got here,
prosecution myself.
I said before you got here that if, you want to scare a police department, preferably a police chief, get you a Kim Motley. No, but not this one.
Can it be like a negligence suit against the Wauwatosa?
I mean, the thing about it is, I think there's so much, and I agree. I mean, we have 50 plus lawsuits against them, and we just keep adding more and more lawsuits. There's so much. There's not a limit. As long, you don't want to obviously file frivolous lawsuits, but I think that they've given so much ammunition, frankly, for lack of a better word, of they're just, the way that they police is just not consistent with what policing, in my opinion, should be.
So talk about the mass action suit that you have.
Right. So right now we have a 1983 mass action lawsuit against the city of Wauwatosa. The name sort of defendants are the city of Wauwatosa, in the Mayor McBride in his individual capacity, and Chief Weber in his individual capacity. And basically that lawsuit is based on primarily with the curfews of October 6th through the 12th, although we do have some people that were representing from the August 13th and 14th that received tickets from the city of Wauwatosa, essentially for protesting in Wauwatosa. And so that lawsuit, I think there was a lot of excessive force. I know the tickets were significantly overcharged according to Wisconsin statute. Was it 323.28, I believe it is. The ticket should be no more than $200 for violating the curfew.
Mine was $1,500.
Right, yours is $1,500.
Mine was $1,300.
Yours is $1,321 or $1,312. I mean, it's clearly, in my opinion, a way to dissuade people from protesting, from constitutionally invoking their right to legally protest.
Exactly.
And so, this is an important case. It's an important case for this community, but it's also an important case for the country. And frankly, this case is we have 49 plaintiffs, plaintiffs, and the 50th plaintiff is the People's Revolution and unincorporated entity. And so that's sort of how we have it. So essentially, it's a mass action. I'm pretty sure this is the largest mass action, civil rights action in the state of Wisconsin ever. Basically, there's 49 plaintiffs with very different stories, different claims, different damages, and things like that. And I know a lot of people have been contacting me that want to sort of jump on the mass action, but we also need witnesses too. Everyone just can't be on this, unfortunately. But we have that last entity where maybe other people can get on it. But the problem is that there's so many people we have on it, which is a good thing. Adding more people will sort of
slow up the process.
It will slow it up, and we have to go backwards. And we're really going forwards.
Yeah.
And we've gotten so much information from that. Like, for instance, we know now, and they put this in writing, that the mayor has said there are credible threats of violence against the city of Wauwatosa and Mayfair Mall for the October curfew, and he says there's no documents to verify that, which is interesting.
Seeing as the fact that the police were militarized.
Exactly. And there's no documents.
And given that, don't they have to take certain protocols to be able to release a riot patrol?
So that's the point. I mean, that's why there's laws.
Yeah.
There's laws that are supposed to be followed that I think were significantly violated. And I think that that we have a lot of good sort of things on our side, but it's not a slam dunk by no stretch of the imagination. It's something that we're going to have to prove and demonstrate and show. But I can say that we did have, we were supposed to have a deposition for Mayor McBride a couple weeks ago. Both parties agreed to the date. He agreed to the date. We agreed to the date. And ultimately, he didn't show up.
Wow, surprise.
And he said his attorney stated that they wanted a protective order over certain documents, and also he wanted to seal the court testimony, which doesn't make sense. It's like, why are we going to do this in private? We can't do this in private. We have 50 plaintiffs. Right. And how are you going to try to essentially, hide freedom of speech on a case that largely depends on freedom of speech?
And it's funny you say that, because the offense was done publicly.
Exactly.
And so the correction and the accountability has to be made public.
And he's an elected official.
I was going to say that, but there's nothing to hide at this point in time.
Exactly. So what are you hiding? Let's do it. I think from our perspective, and I think we're all on the same team here, we've been very transparent and open.
Yeah.
Honestly, everything that we've done, it hasn't been a secret.
Exactly.
It's like there's going to be protests. There are going to be people out there protesting because they don't like the fact that with the way certain things have happened in Wauwatosa.
Exactly.
It's pretty transparent, but it's like all this sneaky business that they're doing. It's ridiculous. We have lawsuits against the city of Wauwatosa to get basic documents for open records that, frankly, I've been fighting them in court for since I believe it is October of last year. I had a fight to get Talavia Cole's phone back, who's Alvin Cole's sister. They unlawfully took her phone and illegally kept it. And when they went to court, they had no excuse as to why they kept it for 21 days. And we got it back. We had to go to court for that. So there's been constant just lawsuit after lawsuit against them that the courts have agreed with our interpretation of everything.
Do you think it's been a mixture of negligence and arrogance
You
in
know,
their actions?
I think it's no secret. I think Chief Weber is a failed leader
Yeah,
of Wauwatosa.
definitely.
And in my opinion, Chief Weber runs Wauwatosa, the
Yeah.
city of Wauwatosa. And unfortunately, I think, in my opinion, that they have let him run the city of Wauwatosa. And now it's sort of coming back to bite them. There has not been any real accountability to the Wauwatosa Police Department or him. It tells you something if yesterday for the John Doe hearing, that's the first time he's ever testified, as far as I know. Testified, sorry. Right. In terms, as it relates to any of the shootings involving Joseph Mensah. Yeah. And to be completely honest, I don't know if he's testified in any matters in open court since he's been a police chief, period. I don't know if he has. Maybe he has, I'm just not aware of it. But the fact that was the first time he ever was on the stand under oath answering questions.
That's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous, and he's been the chief for 37 years and he quit. He's retiring. He should be fired. I've been very vocal about that. There's a lot of corruption that I have seen in this Wauwatosa Police Department, and it's because of him. But the thing about it is that, especially when it comes to Joseph Mensah, I do think that he has problems. I think that Joseph Mensah may have been the one that certainly pulled the trigger, but I think Chief Weber helped put the bullets in the gun.
That's right.
Most definitely. And it's been certainly it's been reports of negligence and his actions, and reports coming up, the way that they handled the documents, the way that let's just dive right into it. The way that the gun was where he said it was and not being able to say it in court.
I mean, there's a lot of inconsistency. I mean, first of all, Joseph Mensah said that there was an extended magazine in the gun. That's a lie. That's a straight up lie. Yeah. There's pictures of the gun. There was not an extended magazine in the gun. That's a lie. Then he said that basically the way that he parked his car face to face with Jay Anderson is inconsistent with training of Wauwatosa police officers on how they're supposed to position their car for a traffic stop. So that was questionable. Because it was a traffic stop, he was supposed to put on his audio recording. He did not do that.
Nope, he didn't. Because
it's a traffic stop, he was supposed to turn on his red and blue lights, which activates his squad video. He didn't do that either. So, the recording that we have, he turned on after he shot and killed Jay Anderson. And the recording goes back 30 seconds, but there's no audio. So there's clear sort of training violations of Mensah. He also said that at 12:30 a.m. that night, he went to Madison's Park and he ran out 2 vehicles. And he turned on his red and blue lights and 2 vehicles left. There's no evidence of that. There's no evidence he went there at 12:30, and there's no evidence that he actually turned on his squad lights, because if he did, then there'd be video for it. Yeah. But we don't have that.
And it's telling that even you're asking the question about video footage that's no longer available, like just magically disappeared.
Right.
Was it from the school?
Well, I mean, I don't even know what, this wasn't an investigation. I don't know what this was. And frankly, Milwaukee Police Department should be ashamed of themselves with how they let this happen. They don't have clean hands in this either. They did not conduct an investigation on this. It wasn't about an investigation. It was about justification. That's it. It was all about justification. They only talked to Joseph Mensah for 47 minutes. They did not record the conversation. As far as I saw in police report, they didn't ask to record the conversation, and that's it. They spent more time talking to Jay Anderson's family after he was killed, trying to convince them implicitly that he was a drug dealer, trying to convince his girlfriend that he was cheating on him. They spent more time doing that than they did actually questioning Joseph Mensah, which is absolutely disgusting and disrespectful. And also, in the police report, Madison Park wasn't even in Joseph Mensah's patrol area.
That's right, yeah.
And he went there twice that night, outside of his patrol area. You saw Chief Weber trying to clean that up, like, it's okay. Like, really? It's just, you just go wherever? What's the point? Why appoint any officer to an area if you can just be anywhere? He had no credibility, in my opinion, yesterday.
And they weren't supposed to get involved in their own investigation at all.
Exactly. And I have over 10 police reports written by Wauwatosa police officers of them being involved in the investigation, number one. And two, in the apartment buildings, there were people that heard stuff. There was, I think, one person that saw a little bit of something. Milwaukee didn't even follow up on that stuff. You know, for the Madison Elementary School video, what captured the cars coming in, that was a Wauwatosa police officer that went and got that.
Yeah.
That's a Wauwatosa police officer that wrote the report of what he saw in the Madison Park Elementary video that same day. And the next day, Joseph Mensah was questioned. No audio, no video, nothing. That was a Wauwatosa police officer that supposedly took the gun out the vehicle. Just snatched it out. It was a Wauwatosa police officer that dug his hands in Jay Anderson's pockets and supposedly found marijuana that jumped from the left pocket to the right pocket. It was in the left pocket when he found it, but when he ends up at the hospital, it was found in the right pocket. Then there was a Wauwatosa police officer that found his ID that said he specifically went into the car to try to locate Jay Anderson's ID, but then he forgot where he found it. That's all Wauwatosa. And we also know that when Milwaukee came, you know, Mensah had his white takedown lights on, right? White takedown lights that does not activate video recording. That was at 3:06 a.m. when the shooting started, right? So at 3:59 a.m., the Milwaukee Police Department took over the investigation. There's a guy that they hire that's a scene police officer. So when there's a homicide or whatever, apparently there's an officer that's designated to like write down, you know, distances and what they observe. Well, that person wrote that Mensah's red and blue lights on his car were on. Who turned his lights on?
Off. Yeah. Excuse me, on.
Well, exactly. Who turned off the white lights and who turned on his red and blue lights? And I asked for the squad video on that. I'm like, give me a squad video for his entire shift. You know what they gave me? They gave me a squad video from 3:06 a.m. to 3:13 a.m.
Wow.
That's it. He was working from 11 p.m. until 7:24 a.m. And I asked for his entire squad video shift. I got 5 minutes, and that's it.
And so to think that all of
I'm
these
sorry,
different
I'm hot.
No, you're fine. This is great. Like all these different layers of just disgusting corruption, and then to think that the head of this, Chief Weber, allows for him, because I remember the question that you asked, you know, what's the approval process of getting an award? And like he is the final say in being able to grant that award. So he granted that award for Mensah. But then to add more insult to injury, then he gets a highly recommendation from him after all of this. With all of this that has happened, he's got a recommendation to go on to another law enforcement agency, knowing the fact that he did not follow training protocols and procedures, and that was exposed in the earlier hearing by a former officer and expert, and then for the both entities, Tulsa to help in covering that up, and then Milwaukee Police Department for continuing to cover that up.
So my question though is, you like
I'm mad.
Are you getting him? Like I mean, not to say like are you getting him, but like in every way, like is there an angle where you want to go where he's fired as of right now? Like I mean, you've already proven that he's been deemed unfit in so many ways because of the protocol after these shootings, where he's supposed to have some type of, you know, mental, you know, wellness check, and he hasn't had one. Like, is that even enough to just say, see, let's start here, fire him until this happens, and let's just not have him on the force, you know, until further notice, and then just, what is it, like, I think they got, do they go through an appeal to, like, say, no, he's not going to be on here, and then y'all come back in a couple days, like a hearing, for him to come back on? Y'all go through that?
Well, I mean, the thing about it is, I mean, that's a good question. I think Waukesha County Sheriff's Department, they are fools for hiring him. You know, the amount of liability they took on is just incredible. It's just incredible. But, you know, with regard, what I'm focused on now is trying to get him charged with a crime. And I think that is so important. I feel like, yes, I agree with you. He should be fired. He should never be a law enforcement officer ever again. Period. You know, it's not the right job for him, you know, in my opinion. And I think that, you know, because of the efforts of protesters and the family, that's why he left Wauwatosa.
Him hiding though and running there, is that like a way for him to like have leverage since he's not under Wauwatosa anymore? Because if he was, then you could just say, well, he shouldn't be a Wauwatosa police officer.
Well, this is the thing that's interesting, is that because he's a Waukesha County Sheriff's Department, he can still go into Wauwatosa because they have these mutual aid agreements.
Yeah.
Remember the week of the curfew, they had all these law enforcement officers there. And so he still can police Wauwatosa. So the Fire and Police Commission Wauwatosa did a crappy job in trying to do this separation agreement with him, and the Common Council of Wauwatosa, they all failed. And frankly, if it weren't for the three families of Alvin Cole, Jay Anderson, Antonio Gonzalez, if it wasn't for many people with the People's Revolution and other protesters, I am convinced that Joseph Mensa would still be an officer with Wauwatosa. I am convinced that Chief Weber would still be the chief there and would not have put in for his retirement. You know, it's like they really, I don't know what they're doing, to be honest. They're not doing enough. They're not doing enough. And it's because of people that aren't from Wauwatosa that have been demanding better for the city of Wauwatosa. They should be appreciative of what has happened.
Like, what does he have on Chief Weber? It's like, it's like Joseph. There's something internal so big that, you know what, I'm just gonna pass you off instead of just
That's a good question.
Exposing the real root. You know what I mean?
It goes to show the nature of his behavior of letting everything slide, though, right? So
Absolutely.
Of course that's why he can't be.
And I think that's why this issue is bigger than Mensa, because there's Mensas everywhere. But I think the issue is it's a system that from top down that allows for Mensa to continue to, like, you saw the movie Gremlins, how they continue to grow is because you pour water. So the system keeps pouring water on these folks, and they continue to evolve and grow and just feel like they're untouchable. And I think now we've encountered a moment in history with Kim being a part of the justice movement, what's going on here in Wisconsin, but across the country, of us saying no to that and being resistant to that.
It starts with Chief Weber.
It starts.
Absolutely does.
His statement of him not knowing where the gun was placed.
Yeah.
He's such a clown. I mean, he said,
And even in the medical, being in part of the exam of the body at the medical examiner's office.
right. I mean, he just changes up. But see, yesterday was important because legally there's consequences for him lying on the stand. And he wasn't remembering a lot of things yesterday. He didn't know a lot of things, but he claimed that he did know a lot of things. And so I think, we have to keep holding him accountable. Just because he's leaving, it doesn't mean he still won't be held accountable. We still have this suit that's going on. He's being sued in his individual capacity, not in his official capacity. So he's still going to have to answer for it. And the thing about it is silence is just not an option. I understand that there's a lot of people in Wauwatosa, and particularly with elected officials, that support what's going on in terms of the protesters and things like that. But being complicit, just because you're saying he needs to be fired, but you're not doing any steps toward that, and you're in the position of power to do that, then you're just as bad, in my opinion. It's time to pick a team, period. And
Period.
Right. And just because Chief Weber is leaving, that doesn't eliminate the problem at all.
So then, Kim, talk about what does accountability look like from those who are residents of Tosa to their own police chief that they are paying. He's still getting paid through all of this. Like, what does that say to them? What do we need to be telling them? What do they need to be doing?
Well, number one, we need to push for this federal civil rights probe. They need to be contacting Attorney General Josh Call. They need to be contacting Tammy Baldwin. They need to be contacting Congresswoman Gwen Moore. That's what they need to actually be doing in a substantive way instead of complaining about it. Posting it on Facebook, on Twitter is okay, but it doesn't mean anything, okay? You need to actually be reaching out to your elected officials. Number two, this mayor, Mayor McBride is awful. He doesn't need to be mayor. So they need to figure out who can run against him, or at least start a recall effort against him, because he's the reason why, in my opinion, there's been so much. He's increased significantly the legal liability of the city of Wauwatosa in the very short period of time that he's been a mayor. And I think that's a problem. So I think they need to really re-examine who their elected officials are and, reassess themselves. Also, it's very, very important that the Wauwatosa residents get involved in this process to pick the next police chief. It should not happen. Also, I understand that the interim police chief that they're looking to hire is Lieutenant Luke Vetter, Captain Vetter.
Yeah.
And he shouldn't be the interim police chief. He is someone who, frankly, I wrote a letter to him about these fabricated arrests on behalf of 2 of my clients, that it didn't happen, and he's refusing to do anything about it. And so you need someone that's not, frankly, a robot. You need someone that is a leader, a good leader, that's willing to recognize the problem. Someone that's willing to talk to the people. When's the last time that protesters or anyone within the People's Revolution or with these families, when's the last time has anyone within the Wauwatosa Police Department reached out? When's the last time that the mayor of Wauwatosa has reached out to say, hey, let's try to figure this out together?
Yeah.
So the Wauwatosa residents, you have to step up, just straight up. It's just not okay that it's constantly people that are, by and large, Wauwatosa taxpayers, as we all are, that are that don't necessarily reside there, but are tax-paying citizens as well, are the ones that are taking the chances and are actually doing something about it. But many of the residents are just shoving their head in the sand, and it's time to pick a team. Period.
Big dot. So when Mr. is charged, is he going to go on administrative leave or?
I don't know. I think it's really important. I think I'm going to start paying attention to the Waukesha City Common Council meetings and things like that. I think I need to get more interested in what's going on there. I don't know what their process is. I really don't. I'm curious if the sheriff is paying attention to this in Waukesha. Are Waukesha citizens paying attention to this? Because they really need to.
Oh, I am. I live in the area. I'm paying attention to all of it. I don't want to be out at night wherever he is.
Waukesha, y'all.
Right.
But definitely, I've communicated to Waukesha officials and letting them know my grievance and that I'm upset with it, and I don't want him on the streets. I don't want him serving, and I don't want them supporting that type of behavior.
Right, it's great.
Speaking of supporting, Kim, what is one way people can support you
That's
out
right.
there? You're doing a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
And I know it ain't, free. That's some hard work. I couldn't put a price on it. I couldn't. How much money would I have to pay to get a Kim Motley? Okay, we'll answer that some other time. But what is there? What ways can people support you out there, our listeners, anybody?
Well, it's interesting because I do have this the Justness Project. People can always donate to it. Frankly, the proceeds will go towards the legal expenses, which there are a lot of legal expenses that are involved in this. But I think it's important to fight these cases, which is why we've kept these cases. So the Justness Project is sort of a good way to financially support.
Can you tell us at the Cash App, so that way we can share it with the viewers so they know? So
the Cash App is, I think $ is in front, right? So $ Justness Project, JUSTNESS Project, PROJECT.
And what about your book?
You know what? I was going to bring a copy of my book, but I forgot. So, Sedan, I owe you a copy. I know.
Hey.
So I have it, but it's at my cousin's house. But I do have a book. It's called Lawless. It's actually because of COVID. I was supposed to be on book tour in the U.S., but that killed that. But I was able to go, to Australia and UK, do a book tour there, which was cool. But yeah, so it's out there.
What about your career? And speaking of that, what about your career in the Middle East?
Honestly, I actually am going to be going to Afghanistan really soon because I have to go take care of some stuff there. So that's still going on, me going there and taking care of stuff. You'll probably hear about why I'm there in a couple weeks. So
Well,
Afghan, y'all get ready.
Afghanistan. What is it like overseas? Like,
It's funny because Afghanistan may sound crazy, but Kabul reminds me of Milwaukee, and in a lot of ways, and I think that's why I've been kind of somewhat comfortable there in terms of like, my experience has been Kabul has kind of become the second home to me. Afghan people are very, very warm and very, they've been great, to be honest. There's a few bad apples, of course. I don't like the way women are treated in Afghanistan, of course. That's what I fight for. But I've had a lot of really good experiences there.
That's what's up.
You fluent in Arabic language?
No, I'm not. Not yet.
So, Kim, not only are you involved in, what's going on in Wauwatosa, but you've also been lending your legal mind to assisting in Kenosha, correct?
That's right.
So talk to us a little bit about that and what's going on with that situation.
Well, the first thing is we had a class action lawsuit in Kenosha. So basically, after Jacob Blake was shot in the back, there were protests that happened in Kenosha. I think those were also unlawfully enacted. Some they didn't go through the process, and so we filed a civil rights class action lawsuit against the city of Wauwatosa. And pretty much when we filed that, and it was myself and Milo Straub, when we filed it, within hours, they lifted the curfew. So that was a win, because that was sort of the goal there. But also, as we know, that week when there was, with Kenosha, there was a person, Kyle Rittenhouse, who actually shot and killed 2 people and severely injured a third, Gage Grosskreutz. So he shot and killed Anthony Huber and Matthew Rosenbaum. So I represent the estate of Matthew Rosenbaum, and I represent Gage Grosskreutz. Okay. So that matter is Kyle Rittenhouse has been charged with many offenses. If you add up all the prison exposure he has, it's over 200 years that he's exposed to.
Wow.
And so that is doing its thing in the process. He's in the, it's going through the court procedure. There's a trial that's scheduled, I believe, for November 1st for him. So we'll see what happens.
He going to jail. That's what's going to happen. That's what better happen.
Yeah.
You ain't killed no 2 people and shoot no 1 person and didn't go to jail. Nobody out there besides Mensa. And he killed 3 people. He going to jail too. So
we'll see.
Kyle, you can fall right in line. You and Mensa going to be cellmates.
So we get into some other questions that came in the chat. But Kim, just talk to us, even still on the talk of Kenosha and, with Kyle and just all, it's a high profile case, high profile situation. But look at the comparison of how Kyle has been treated, clearly as a murderer in this situation versus how other individuals, mainly black and brown people, how they've been taken into custody, or sometimes not even taken into custody. But look how, like, all of these different just privileged situation that Kyle has gotten. And what is he, 19 years old? Excuse me, 18?
Now he's 18.
Now he's 18,
Turned 18 in January. So, I mean, I can't co-sign to calling him a murderer because, that's up to the court.
Correct.
And so I'm following that process. I respect
Correct.
rule of law. But I think I agree with you. There is a stark comparison, to Kyle Rittenhouse, who was 17 years old when he did what he did, and 17-year-old Alvin Cole, who was shot in the back 5 times. He was shot in the back. And so, this is America. And that's just what it is, unfortunately. And that's why we need to fight against it.
Are you doing a John Doe case for Alvin and Antonio as well?
We'll see. I mean, I think Sedan just put me on the spot, but you're a great interview. But no, this is the thing. I think with this John Doe case, as far as I know, and I've done research, this is the first time that there's ever been a John Doe case involving a police officer in the state of Wisconsin that I know of.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, I think it's really important to pay attention to what's happening, because this can be a vehicle that can potentially open perhaps other cases. So there's a lot of other cases, obviously, I'm thinking about. But I'm just trying to get through this first. You know what I mean? Because I think there's a lot of situations that were very questionable where someone was shot and killed by a law enforcement officers and it didn't make sense.
Dominique Hagen Brown, you going to jail too. You don't got to co-sign to that. That's my own statement.
Yeah, I know. But we have to keep in mind, and I think this is a good thing, that homicide has no statute of limitations, which means that for a lot of cases involving homicide, you can bring these up whenever.
Yeah.
There's no statute of limitations.
Yeah.
You know, Jay Anderson shooting happened almost 5 years ago.
And then we're able to have this particular special proceeding now, regardless of the time. So.
Right, exactly.
Is that just applied to Wisconsin? Are there other states of that?
You know, it's interesting because I've been looking at other states, and I have seen this in other states, but people just don't know it's available to them. And I think we need to start being creative and using these other tools in our toolbox. If the prosecutors aren't going to do it, then let's figure out how we can do it.
Yeah.
And that's what the families, you know, we figured out that this is something that can be done, and so we're doing it, and we'll see what happens. There's other ways that we have to think about to get around to, you know, it's the prosecutors aren't gods, you know, so we have to figure out other ways that we can maybe go around them if they're not willing to do what we think is the right thing to do, period. You know, because ultimately this is our system.
Yeah.
Everyone's system.
So is the process different if it's not a cop involved shooting?
No,
as far
you
as
can,
the statute?
No, you can do it for anything. It doesn't have to involve law enforcement officers. And,
Wow.
and for several John Doe hearings that I have seen, they have all not involved a law enforcement officer. So yes, you can do it for anything.
I think you're setting up a great example of how the system, well, we don't like the system, but here's an opportunity to work within the system and how
Right.
we can turn it around for our favor. So I think lawyers, prosecutors everywhere should be paying attention to what you're doing here in this particular case and take it and really review how it could work in their cases and in their state.
I agree. I think it's so important for us to do this, and I think we have to figure out other ways. I mean, keep in mind, the whole thing against Joseph Mensah and the city of Wauwatosa, it began with a police citizen complaint that was filed with the city of Wauwatosa. This is just a basic police complaint that was filed on behalf of the Alvin Cole, Jay Anderson, and Antonio Gonzalez family. That's how this whole thing started, with just a police complaint.
Yeah.
And it just sort of blew up to what it is.
We got a quick question right here from Kevin. It says, what are your thoughts about Kenosha not releasing records to anyone about Kenosha unrest?
Well, I think that's a problem. And I think that it's important for there to be writ of mandamus actions that you sue to get those records. And I believe Kevin Glowicki has a lawsuit, which is extremely important to pay attention and watch for in the Kenosha courts, where he's actually suing to get those records, because that's something that doesn't belong to the police department, that belongs to the citizens. And we're
Good
doing
point.
the same thing with Alvin Cole in the Milwaukee Circuit Court. We've been suing for documents in Wauwatosa, and it's important that Kevin Glowicki is also doing this in the Kenosha courts. And I mean, I think because it's not just about him getting the records, the records should be available to everybody. You shouldn't have to pay, $180 to file a lawsuit to get records.
Yeah. And speaking, like, you paid a ton of money for a lot of the records that you were able to get for the Alvin Cole case, correct?
That's correct. I paid thousands of dollars. Well, over $1,000 to get Joseph Mensah's emails. I paid over, I think, $1,312.
Wow.
To just get his emails.
So that's something that can't just be subpoenaed?
Well, the problem is that at the time we didn't have a court case. So usually when you subpoena attached to a case. At that point in time, we just had our police citizen complaint. And so they charged us $1,312
Wow.
to get any and all emails that mention him, refer to him, anything. And we got 1,654 pages of emails. Actually, that Friday, before we were doing something substantive with the hearing on Monday. And they did it on purpose. But within those emails, it was very interesting. We found an email from one Wauwatosa officer to another basically saying, for open records that you don't like, we've been advised you should charge high fees. So we have that email within the email.
They put it in writing.
Yes.
Tisk.
That's crazy.
That
Not only
is.
is they controlling the budget, but they controlling the way that we spend our money in areas where we should just be served, our equal justice, our God-given rights
And
to
then,
this
then
information.
they're putting it in writing for it to be seen, and
Right.
not knowing that it's going to be exposed.
Absolutely. And the ACLU, jumped up and down about it, rightfully so. And frankly, if you take something for a writ of mandamus, as we're doing, you can't ask the court to impose costs. And, that's something to keep in mind.
So can that potentially be used against them?
Yes.
And they know it.
We're not there yet, but we're going to get there. I
But
mean,
they
you got to
know
be.
that.
I don't know what they know, but I just know what I know.
You can say that
Right,
again. So.
right.
So can we go back to connected to the question that Pierre said as it relates to Weber and how you unraveled a lot of the lies and really just kind of disqualified him as not only this law enforcement officer but as the lead person, policy person. And so talk to us about what really can happen out of that. Like, the judge is going to go back and review all of this. What's a possibility that could come out of, now that's been exposed?
Well, I mean, I think the focal point of the hearing in Judge Yamahiro's court is there probable cause to charge Joseph Mensah with a crime? Mm-hmm. Will the judge issue a complaint and say that there's probable cause to charge him with a crime? So even though, whatever Weber said, yesterday is bad.
Yeah.
He's not the one that's on trial here.
Yeah.
He just isn't. Matter of fact, Joseph Mensah isn't even the one that's on trial.
Yeah.
It's just determining whether there's probable cause exists. To charge him with an offense. Now, I personally think that if I was a city of Wauwatosa resident, I would have looked very closely at Chief Weber's testimony. And, he's not retired yet. There's still time to fire him. And, that's something that I think should happen. Because this is a mess. This is a real mess. There's a lot of legal liability, I believe, that's on the city of Wauwatosa.
Exactly.
Especially when you don't know where the gun was,
Right.
and you claim that the victim was a threat.
Right.
But how is he
In
a
an
threat when
open
he
carry
sleep?
state.
In an open carry state, and then he sleep.
Right. I mean, having a gun, you're allowed to have guns in the state of Wisconsin.
Exactly.
Period.
Yeah.
You're allowed legally. Mm-hmm. And when Joseph Mensah came to the car, there was nothing. He had no probable cause that Jay Anderson had committed any crimes. At the most, Jay Anderson was looking at getting an ordinance ticket for $100, $200.
Yeah.
That's, in the state of Wisconsin, that's not a crime. A ticket is not a crime. A crime is defined as a misdemeanor or felony under 939.12. A ticket is not a crime. But that's how it ended up the way it ended up.
That would have just been for him sleeping in the park after hours, though, right?
Exactly, for being out in the park after hours, and after midnight or whatever.
And that's ultimately at the officer's discretion. They can
Exactly.
just,
Yeah.
hey, man, it's like you got to get up out of here.
Well, and also we know that he went, according to him, he went to the park at 12:30, saw two cars. He didn't give them tickets. So it's like, why are you the park ranger?
Right.
Aren't parks supposed to be presided over by the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Department anyway?
Yeah.
Why is this fool going to these parks?
Yes.
In areas where he's not even supposed to be at.
That's outside his right.
And has there ever been any answer to the facts of why Officer Mensah was not interviewed more than just that one time?
Not that I have seen. I think, you see what we've had 3 hearings on this. We've spent a significant amount of time on this. 3 hearings, 94 exhibits on this.
Yeah.
I'm not in law enforcement, but I think we've spent more time investigating this than the Milwaukee Police Department spent investigating this, and that's just a fact.
They owe you a
Shame
check.
on you, Milwaukee. police department.
Absolutely. Shame on them.
Yeah.
Because had they investigated this correctly,
Yeah.
Alvin Cole would possibly be here. And that's just facts. He would possibly be here had they done their basic job. Because it's not to say, they could have investigated it and still have made the determination that no charges. But I think it's clear that there were clear, training wasn't clearly followed.
Right.
He should have been counseled or something.
Yeah.
Maybe that could have changed the trajectory of his career. He still had only been on the force for 18 months. And when he shot and killed Jay Anderson, he had fired his weapon as a Wauwatosa police officer 14 times in 18 months. Killed 2 people. Got an award, was recommended. Chief Weber doesn't know who recommended him, but he approved it.
And that's crazy. You said 18 times?
18 months.
14
times.
He shot and killed Antonio Gonzalez on July 2015. Shot at him 8 times. For Jay Anderson, on June 2016, he shot at him 6 times. That's 14 times in 18 months.
So what's the policy as it relates to the time period that an officer who's involved in a shooting, what's the time frame before he's allowed to go back onto the streets again? Because you would think that he would, as officers admitted, that these 3 shootings are the only shootings that's happened in Tulsa, and it's happened with the same, not by coincidence, by the same officer. So you would think that he would need some type of just breathing time, however you want to phrase it, before being able to go back onto the streets and with his service weapon.
Exactly. I mean, we know from testimony yesterday that Officer Mensah is the only officer that has shot and killed anyone in the line of duty as a Wauwatosa police officer since January 2010.
Wow.
We know that, with Chief Weber's testimony yesterday, he wasn't able to articulate what the policy is. And I think he wasn't able to articulate it because I don't know if there is a policy.
Probably not.
And if so, he doesn't,
Abide by it.
Yeah, he doesn't encourage them to follow it either.
But he's the policymaker.
Right.
So any policy, he's the one that would have made it. And he wasn't able to articulate the policy.
And or knowing the policy, like the national policy,
right,
that is being driven out by,
right,
asked for other departments to adhere to.
The laxity in the way that he's been handling things is just too much. He needs to be charged too. Him not knowing where the gun is, and it's just stuff like that. Like, as a chief, how do you get away with saying you don't know? And all of the questions that I feel like you asked him are things that just basic guidelines of what you should know.
Right. I mean, if you don't know where the gun is, then don't say where the gun is. Just say, I don't know. Don't say it was there. And that's my problem. You said it was there in a certain spot and it wasn't. And as the chief policy maker of a police department, you have a greater responsibility with your words and what you put out there. And so it just wasn't, I don't think it was smart for him to, if he didn't know, you just shouldn't say.
Right.
Period.
Right.
Say, I don't know.
Yeah.
So out of all of these things, Kim, you're unraveling so much. And so just shout out to you for being able to just, get all of this exposed for these families, because it's heart-wrenching. But it's also good because people need to know this. The public needs to be aware about what's happening with these police departments. But what would you recommend for, I know you're the legal mind and you're working in that lane, but what would you recommend as far as policy changes after now knowing all these things that you know and that we know? Like, how would you direct us in saying, what are some key things that we need to be talking about and raising awareness and getting changed?
In Wauwatosa or just period?
Period. But specifically in Wauwatosa.
Right. Well, I think, it's important for people to continue, if you have a problem with a law enforcement officer, that you put that complaint in writing and you keep records of things. I think that's very, very important. I also think, frankly, that if you think an officer is doing a good job, you should also say that too. I think that's also really important, because the fact of the matter is, law enforcement isn't going anywhere. It just isn't. But I think that especially if you have a complaint, you should absolutely put that in writing. I think it's important to hold the Fire and Police Commission accountable. I think by doing that, in Wauwatosa, and I don't know what it is for Milwaukee, the mayor appoints the Fire and Police Commission. And I know he's going to appoint a new person, and so get on the mayor. Why are you appointing this person? Who is this person? What are their qualifications? Instead of the current president of the Fire and Police Commission is a former Wauwatosa police officer, Dominic Leone, who, by the way, was also a police officer for, I don't know when he retired, but he's been a police officer for a very, very long time before he retired. He retired like within the last 5 years, I think. And so he was there during the days of the Martin Luther King parties in Wauwatosa. Now, I'm not saying he participated. I'm not saying he hosted, but he definitely was a police officer during that time in Wauwatosa. Yeah. And I think some of the, I think he's kind of suspect a little bit. But I think it's important to understand who's being appointed. I think it's important to support those that are willing to take the chances out there and show and protest. It's unfair that, I'm representing over 100 tickets that I'm representing of protesters. Yeah. And every Wednesday I go to Wauwatosa. I call it Wauwatosa Wednesdays. And it's nothing but black and brown people.
Wow.
And I go to the city attorney. I was just there. That's why I was late today. And I said, this is ridiculous. I said, this is the blackest I see Wauwatosa every single Wednesday when I come to court. And you're part of the problem. So residents of Wauwatosa, go to court and observe and watch the fiasco of what's happening. That's really important. Yeah. Support these protesters.
Yeah. Well, before we get out of here, I want you to, give them a way to support you again. How can they follow you? One more time, the book, just reach out to them so they can reach out to you because, once again, even though we want justice to be something that should be free, it has to be served and it's a service fee. So. Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't like it, but feel free, the Justice Project, and it's a Cash App, and I have a book called Lawless. What I do is, we're all fighting this together, and I think we all have our part in this fight. Yeah.
And recognizing the fact, y'all, that Kim no longer lives in Milwaukee. She's traveling back and forth between North Carolina and Wisconsin to make sure that she is being dedicated. So just keep that in mind as we are thinking about why we support and how we support. It's allowing for her to give that due diligence face to face on behalf of the victims and their families and all of us who have been a part of the protest. So again, shout out to you, Kim. We love you. Yes. We appreciate you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming today.
Thank you for having me. This is so important. I love that you guys doing this.
I just want to say one quick thing. I didn't know you had a meme. Did you guys see a meme?
Yeah, you became a meme yesterday.
Did you see the meme?
You did.
No. I had a meme. No.
Yeah.
I
kind of be on the lookout for the meme.
That's funny.
But yeah.
And thank you to our viewers as well for watching today's show. Of course, it's a lot of information that you might want to be able to, you might want to just run it back. A lot of this is a lot of information to take in, but it's the information that you need to implement change and be a part of it. Again, we want to thank you so much for coming to our show. It was an honor to have you here.
Thank you.
It was very informational, of course. And
like
again,
and share. Make sure you share.
That's right.
And May 19th, again.
At 9:45 for the closing.
9:45. The closing argument for the John Doe. Y'all get out there and, support the J. Anderson family and let's send this crooked cop to jail. Yeah. And I am your host, Sedan Smith.
I'm Miss Tiff.
I am Pierre.
And we are Lights,
Camera, Blaction.
One love, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure y'all share this, like this.
Like, share.
That was